Hello followers and welcome to the Minecraft 1.6 update overview video. So in this video what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going through the changes in Minecraft 1.6 because the official update came out today, Minecraft 1.6.1, and we're just going to give a good overview to all the new features and changes in this version because there's been a lot of them. It may not seem like a lot right here, but there's been a lot of internal changes in this particular update, so I'm going to cover all those with you guys, and then you'll have hopefully a better idea of what has actually been changed in Minecraft 1.6. So, without further ado, let's begin. So, Minecraft Update 1.6/1.6.1, it does require a new launcher. This launcher can support multiple installations, including older versions and modded jars, and you can assign more memory amongst many other things now. It's a lot easier to do a load of different things in this launcher. I'll include a screenshot in front of this video right now. There you go, so there's the launcher. And I'm going to talk about the launcher more in depth in a tutorial. If you are more interested in the launcher and want to know how to customize different settings with it, I will be doing a tutorial in the next couple of weeks on the launcher in 1.6. So, with that out of the way, there's been a bunch of general changes. Resource packs have now replaced texture packs. Resource packs are something brand new. They now support textures, sounds, fonts, and credits, and eventually in future updates they will support more than this. A conversion tool is available to convert existing texture packs into the new system. There will be a link for that in the description. So yeah, instead of in the options menu now having a texture packs button, you have a resource packs button. Basically the same as installing a texture pack. You get the zip and you drop the zip in a resource pack folder in your Minecraft directory, but it's just a nice little change if you really want to add greater customization, including sounds, fonts and all that kind of stuff. So expect a tutorial on that as well. I will show you how to install the resource pack in a couple of weeks as well. So yeah, that's pretty much that. There's been 2 new splash screens, Hardened and What's Up Doc, pretty minor. Hardened was added because of something that went on in Reddit, and What's Up Doc is because Dinnerbone got killed in UHC Season 11 with Minecraft, and that's just kind of a reference to that. So, another minor change is crash reporting's been re-enabled. There's been an improved internal chat system, meaning that many more translations are now possible, along with an update to the language files, so a bunch of stuff's been changed as regards that. There's a brand new attribute system, which is designed for map makers. There's many properties moved over onto this system, such as speed, there's strength, and other stuff like that as well, moved over into this new system. A few new ones, including stuff like knockback resistance and a couple of other ones, can be applied to tools, weapons, armor, and potions as well as mobs using an NBT editor. I don't have a demo of this setup here because this is more of something very specific for map makers rather than a general change. If you want to know more about this, I would highly recommend checking out Seth Bling's channel. He has a bunch of stuff related to this system on his channel, including a filter which you can play around with if you have MC Edit, so that you can actually play with the attribute system. I haven't actually looked into it myself much at all, really. It's a very in-depth change, and for most players who aren't map makers, then you have no need to worry. So that's just a bunch of things. You can actually see it if you go into stuff like tools. You get these little tool tips now with the attack damage and stuff. This is part of the attribute system, and if you look at some potions, including weakness, strength, and slowness is on here, a couple of other ones as well, so you can actually play around with that yourself if you want to. So, moving on from that, there's been a good amount of gameplay changes. There's been a few new added improved commands. There's a new spread players command, which you can use to spread players or teams using the scoreboard feature from 1.5 over a certain distance which you can set. I don't have multiple players with me right now, so I can't exactly show you that off. But what I can do is I can just show you the syntax for it. If you go spread players, usage, spread players, X, Z, so you can choose 2 coordinates which are the maximum, or you can choose a distance, max range, respect teams if you want it to be in teams, or you can choose specific players. So nice little command there if you want to do some tournaments and stuff in multiplayer. Beyond that, we have do daylight cycle command. This freezes time. Really like this one. So I've actually set it up here. As you can see, the sun is not moving. That is because I have do daylight cycle set to false. So what it means is if it's set to false, then the daylight cycle will stop and the sun will remain where it is in the sky, or the moon will remain where it is in the sky if it's night time. If you want perpetual night or perpetual day, then you do have that option as well. So really easy now to control whether you want that just through this command, which is game rule do daylight cycle, and it all has to be one word. I think it's a capital C actually. Yeah, there we go. So do daylight cycle currently set to false. You can choose true if you want it to continue, or false if you don't want it to continue. So that's that. There is a natural regeneration command to turn natural healing on or off. So if you turn natural regeneration off and you take damage, then you will not naturally regenerate that. The only way to regenerate is with golden apples or instant health potions. Again, related to ultra hardcore, if you've seen any of those, you can't naturally regenerate health. So pretty simple stuff really. That's just game rule, and then natural regeneration. I think I've spelt it wrong. Generation maybe? That's just what I did put, isn't it? I have no idea how you spell that, but that's basically what it is anyway. I'm just trying to keep going through this quickly, and I'm not trying not to cut the video to just check a spelling of something. So I think it's that right there, but that's just the command. Is it a command? I don't know. Natural regeneration maybe? No, I have no idea. Let's move on. But that's basically what it does anyway. They've changed do fire tick to allow the extinguishing of fire if you want to do that. So if you want to extinguish fire but you don't want fire to burn out on its own, then that is now possible as well. And finally, a very late release in terms of commands, which was added only a couple of days ago. The play sound command to play certain sounds to certain players at a certain pitch and volume, as well as coordinates to play a sound from a certain place. So this was in 1.6.1, and all you need to do is you need to choose play sound, and you get this syntax here. You've got play sound, you can choose the sound, and to find out the sound, what you need to do is you need to go into your Minecraft directory and you need to put in the folder structure. Again, there is a video by Seth Bling talking more about this. You can choose to play it to a player if you want, the coordinates to play it from, the volume and the pitch, and a minimum volume. So there's a lot to play around with that. And it does offer a lot for map makers. Again, you're probably not going to use it a lot in survival mode. I can see servers using it for announcements and stuff, because you can actually change the sounds now with the resource packs. But again, I'll link that video that Seth Bling has in the description if you're more curious as to how to use that particular setup. So again, I've not done too much research into this, but I know that I think I covered it in a snapshot as well. So that's that really. From there, we now have some of the gameplay changes as regards things that will impact. Natural health regeneration now costs hunger/saturation points. So basically you no longer get health for free. So if you get damaged by something, say you get hit by a zombie and you're knocked down 2 hearts, then for those 2 hearts to recover, not only does your food bar have to be 9 or higher like we know it does already, but also while you're healing you will actually take saturation points off from that, so your saturation will go down or your hunger will go down trying to regenerate you. So you're going to need more food now. It's a lot harder, especially if you wear stuff like featherfall boots and you just take that half a heart damage. It's going to keep taking a little bit away from your saturation. So farming and animals are going to be a big thing now, because after what happened as regards that change, which, to be honest, I don't like that much. It's not something I'm very happy about, but we'll live with it. I do think that it forces players now to make it very grindy, to keep grinding food all the time. But maybe with the automatic farms and stuff, it won't be so bad. And I also think this kind of goes polar opposites to the bone meal change, meaning that we can't get instant food now, so getting started in a new world is going to be tough. It's going to be a lot tougher than it used to be. I would probably recommend actually playing on an older version to get started, such as 1.0 or 1.1, then upgrading to the latest release when you have established yourself. Or you could easily just play on peaceful. It's entirely up to the player. So they've improved riding things, dismounting now only possible by using left shift, and mob health is displayed when riding a mob, and you can no longer hit the mob or item while you're riding it. So I have a little demo set up over here, riding mount changes. We have a boat. I cannot break the boat while in it, as you can see, and you use left shift to get out. Similar thing with the minecart. I can break the rail and the blocks, but not the minecart itself, so you have to left shift to get out. So that's another cool change as regards that. Very handy in survival mode so that you don't accidentally fall out of your minecart. And equally with the pig and the saddle, if I go into game mode 0 here and I get on the pig, as you can see it's got some hearts there. It's got 5 hearts, and I can't hit the pig while I'm riding him. I can only left shift to dismount and get off the pig, and I can right click to get back on him again. So pretty cool change overall. I quite like that change. It's not the same as just right clicking anymore, which sometimes you can accidentally do. So that is that change. I'm going to go back into game mode 1. And let's move on. We have a change to the respiration enchantment, which is a really cool addition. Let's see, where are we? There we are. Mob health is displayed while riding a mob. Yep, we've done that. Respiration enchantment has now been improved, and swords will no longer break blocks in creative mode. I'll just quickly show you that. It treats it as if it's bedrock. The reason for doing that, which I quite like, is if you want to hit a mob in creative mode, particularly passive mobs, they would run around and you would break a lot of blocks. That can get kind of annoying. So we don't need to worry about that anymore. So that's been changed. Now for the respiration enchantment, I'm going to need an anvil. And here's a change, by the way. This was a bug fix, but you can tell the difference now between the anvils. And you're going to need respiration, either respiration 1, respiration 2, or respiration 3. And I'm going to grab myself a golden helmet. It will do the trick. It doesn't matter what helmet it is. I don't think I left anything here, so we need a respiration 1 helmet. So here we have respiration 1. And we need a respiration 2 helmet. I'm going to show you the differences between the 3. And we have respiration 3. So there we go. And I'm going to throw these guys away because we don't need them now. And this guy, and you. So now, respiration helps you to see underwater. And I'm going to get this boat out of here. So by default, this is what it looks like underwater. It's very dim. There's a lot of squiddies in here, but that's beside the point. It's very dim, it's very dark. You can't see a whole lot. So now, if I throw on the respiration 1 helmet, and I go underwater, it's a little bit clearer. It's not great. It's still quite difficult to see what's going on, but it is certainly better than no respiration at all. Respiration 2, again, is even better. To be honest, I don't see much of a difference, but supposedly it's better, so we can see a bit more clearly. And finally, respiration 3, which is obviously going to be the best, allows you to see basically everything. Very, very clearly. It's almost like being above ground, but not quite the same obviously, but very, very cool change nonetheless. And I'm going to throw these in here for the time being. So that's a cool little respiration enchantment change. Get rid of the anvil. So moving on from that, we now have we've covered the swords. Creative mode item selection screen now displays items of the origin tab. So what that means is if I go into the search items and I go down here, as you can see, it tells me what origin tab it's in. So building blocks, decoration blocks, redstone and all that stuff, transportation, miscellaneous. So it tells you what tab it's in for future reference if you want to find it quickly and easily again without having to search the items again. So nice change that, very, very polished. So that's pretty cool. Regional difficulty. Mobs get harder the longer you stay in one area, and if you watch my MrMFretwell Plays Minecraft series over the next couple of days, then you'll see what I mean. This is definitely implemented, and this is definitely very annoying. I don't like this change at all. The mobs now are getting harder all the time. Each update they seem to get harder, and the longer you stay in an area, the more difficult they get. Their gear gets better, their pathfinding gets better. There's been some unique changes as regards mobs, which we're going to get to later, and it's kind of more of an annoyance now. It kind of forces you to build above ground most of the time. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is, but what can we do? It's there. We have to live with it, I guess. Not the greatest of changes. So, yeah. Potions have been nerfed. Again, not a change I'm very happy about, but it's not too much of an issue. Instant health has been nerfed by 33%. So that means it does a third less than what it used to do. Regeneration, nerfed. It's meant to be like that, nerfed by 50%. This does not apply to the hunger regeneration. This only applies to the regeneration potions. So regeneration 1 is half as powerful. Regeneration 2 is how regeneration 1 used to be. Again, not too crazy about it, but I can live with it, I suppose. So there's been a bunch of new effects added to the game. Health boost effect, absorption, and saturation. So I've got these three set up here with these command blocks, and we need to go into survival mode really for this. So first off, we have the health boost effect, and health boost gives you more hearts. So in this case, I have these hearts right here, and I have this health boost 3 for 10 seconds, and then after it goes away. So this will give you extra hearts, which will then regenerate. So you have an opportunity to have extra hearts, in this case 6, which is fairly neat. It gives you that option. There's no way to get this in the game currently on its own. The only way to get it is through a command block like this, or custom based stuff that map makers can have. Absorption, this comes from golden apples. What absorption does is it will give you, by default in the game with a golden apple, 2 hearts, and they will be there until you take damage, and it will use up those hearts first. As you can see, that's gone again, and then it will start on your regular health, but every 30 seconds the absorption hearts will reappear. They don't regenerate, they just magically reappear. So if you're down to 2 hearts, all of a sudden, in this case I would have 6 extra, so that gives you that valuable time if you need it to get away. Not that useful, to be honest, in vanilla. We never really end up in these kind of situations, though it could be useful, I guess, in fighting the Wither, giving you that option, or maybe the Ender Dragon. It could be handy for that. And finally, the saturation effect. I'm pretty sure most people know what this does, but I'm going to give myself hunger. There we are, giving myself hunger for 10 seconds. I can actually use the saturation effect once this is worn out and restore my health. So I got saturation 5 for 10 seconds, and it fills your hunger bar right back up again. So that's just a saturation change. So basically the food that you eat, you can actually now push a button and get saturation back, which is really, really handy. Means that now map makers don't have to give players food at all. You can just use these saturation. You could make like a little bedrock box with this in it, and it's like a saturation point. Or you could put this in a base so that you're never having to get hungry while in your base. So again, another really, really useful change there. So, moving on from that. By the way, saturation is not available in survival at all at the moment, so just so you know. Moving on from that, where are we here? There's been a huge pile of bug fixes, as there always is. There is a changelog on Reddit, which will be in the description if you want to check out all the bug fixes individually, but there's been a huge heap of them, and even more bug fixes to come in 1.6.2, and I'll probably talk about that briefly at the end of the video. So, world generation, chests now generating nether fortresses. So basically it's the same random loot chest that you would find in dungeons and mine shafts and stuff like that, where you can actually get some basic tools and armor, food, and a couple of other new items as well. And small water lakes no longer appear in deserts. So what that means is basically in the deserts you used to see those small ponds, they are now gone. That was changed so that you don't end up with that at all anymore. And moving on from that, we now have a bunch of new blocks and items to play with. And this is probably the second coolest thing about this update, most people will say. Personally, some of the things in this list are my favourite things in the update, but now we have hay bales, carpets, hardened clay, stained hardened clay, coal blocks, and a lapis lazuli block retexture, some comparator improvements. Command blocks can now no longer be mined or destroyed in survival mode. Lava now decays properly. Before it kind of hung around. It's a lot shorter time now before it goes away. Charcoals has been retextured as well. And spawn eggs now work on water. So here I have all the blocks and items in the game that have been added in 1.6 in particular. We have these things which I'll come back to. The hay block, as you can see, this is a hay bale. I'm actually going to jump back into creative at this point. Here is it me or did that just get bigger? I don't know. But here we are, hay bale block. Fairly standard. This is what it looks like. It has multiple orientations like wood. You place it as you would a wood block, so you can place it all manner of different ways, up, down, left, right, anywhere you want. Nice cool block. It has got a use which we will get to later on, but generally it's just a decorative block. If you want to build straw roofs or whatever, you do have that option. There's the crafting recipe. Just 9 wheat in a crafting grid will give you 1 hay bale. So yeah, carpets, these are really cool. I like these. It's basically all the 16 colours of wool, but it's in carpet form, and it looks like a snow layer. It's the same thickness. You place this on a block, and it makes a nice carpet. It doesn't increase your height, so it doesn't have, it has a hitbox but not a bounding box, I think it is, or it might be the other way around. So as you can see, I go on it, I'm still at Y56, regardless of actually where I'm stood, whether it's on or off the carpet. It's crafted with 2 pieces of wool in a crafting grid or in your little mini inventory, and you get 3 carpet each time. It does have the unique property that if you put glowstone or pumpkins underneath, then you can actually hide light in that way, and it still acts as it would normally, because this is classed as a transparent block. So very, very nice, very cool change, and it does make a couple of nice carpets. When we get back to my tutorial world, we're going to put this down in the cottage with the blue carpet rather than the wool that's in there now, so I can have a proper basement at last. Moving on from that, that's pretty standard, comes in the 16 colours, and you can just place it on the ground or on whatever it is. We have hardened clay, and this is what the hardened clay block looks like. Very nice kind of adobe block. You could build some western villages maybe out of this, with some fences in there for windows and that kind of thing. It's crafted by smelting clay in a furnace, and you get 1 hardened clay for each clay block. No, not a clay ball, a clay block in the furnace. So if I grab myself some clay, just ordinary clay, I've got 64 clay here, throw it in the furnace, I'm actually going to get, when this arrow goes across, 1 piece of hardened clay for each clay block. So it's a 1-to-1 exchange, because you get 4 clay balls, and you put the 4 clay balls in a crafting grid, either right here or in your little one in your survival mode window, and you'll get your clay block, which you can then smelt to make hardened clay. Very cool block on its own. I really like it. An addition was made with hardened clay, so that we can now have stained hardened clay, and these are probably my favourite, close with the carpets. I think these just kind of edge it over the carpets because we already had wool. So these guys are crafted with the dye that you would use on wool, but you surround the dye in the crafting grid with 8 hardened clay, and you get 8 of whatever colour you used, and it comes in 16 different colours. As you can see, we have white, orange, magenta, light blue, yellow, lime, pink, grey, light grey, cyan, purple. Is that purple? I think it is. What's this one? Blue, brown, green, red and black. And I've actually used this already. In an upcoming MrMFretwell Plays Minecraft episode, you will actually see I use the cyan clay. and it's a really nice block. It's a smooth block which we've not had before. It's resistant to fire, it has high blast resistance, so for the first time in the history of the game really, we have 16 blocks that are not wool. They are something which we can actually build with. It was always a bit odd building with wool. You usually would think of wool as something you would use for carpets, which we now coincidentally have. So by the way, as regards the carpets, you don't dye the carpets afterwards. You choose 2 of your different colours of wool, and you have to make sure that the 2 colours are the same. So orange wool to orange wool, and you'll get 3 orange carpet. So in this case, we have all these different blocks. They're a very nice variety. They're not the same as wool, which is what I quite like. It's kind of the stuff that they use in walls now for modern homes and stuff. They actually use this in walls. It looks quite similar to that. This one reminds me of sweets. I just don't know why. This one and the magenta one reminds me of sweets that I don't really like, but yeah, there's some pretty cool additions here. I can see myself using these a lot in upcoming builds. It gives a lot of variety to players now. You can choose various different ones, and they go nicely with different things like quartz and the stone bricks and cobble and all the other different blocks that we had in the game. So yeah, they are how they're crafted. So for the orange one, you would need orange dye, magenta dye, light blue dye. You would need that dandelion yellow dye for that. Lime dye, I think it is for that one. And so on. You need the actual colour. So for example, for black, you would need an ink sac, etc. So you'll get 8 in return. I have crafted a white stained clay here with bone meal. So that is what you would need to make the white clay variant, but you can choose your different coloured dye and get 8 in return. So very nice overall change. As you can see, the hardened clay is cooking up in here. The coal block, the block of coal, this, I really like this. This is well overdue. This was in the 2.0 release, the April Fool's joke, but so many people wanted it, Mojang decided to add it. It's crafted using 9 coal in the crafting grid, as you would imagine, as with all the other blocks, and you get this block of coal. It's got a very dark texture. It's basically a retextured version of nether quartz, a very, very dark version of it, and it provides a great way of storing coal, because if you pop this in the crafting grid, you'll get your 9 coal back. If you put this into a furnace, it will give you the ability to smelt 80 items instead of the I think it would be 72, so it does have a benefit of actually making a block of coal. You will get it for just that little bit longer, but at the same time you can only stack 64 items in a furnace, so you would need to have some sort of hopper set up for that. So if you do that though, you don't get the experience, so nah, it's great for storing things, but honestly I would prefer in most cases to put the coal in myself and just put a stack of it in, or use blaze rods or something similar rather than this. This is just a great way of storing it, I think, to be honest. But it is available to use as a fuel, so there's always that as well. So I'm just going to toggle the downfall. I don't like how it looks. The new charcoal texture, we've got a dropper. Looks a little different. Looks more kind of made, I guess you could say. And that's what it looks like. Pretty nice overall new texture. As I said, lapis lazuli has got a new texture. It looks more 3D like now. You could make tiles out of this or something, which is something I quite like. I like the new lapis texture. Comparators have been improved from 1.5. They now respond to whether an Eye of Ender portal, the Ender portal, is either empty or full, and if it's empty it outputs nothing. If it's full, it outputs a full signal strength of 16, and it works with cauldrons now, so if cauldron is full, it outputs 3. If it's had 1 water bottle taken out of it, 2 water bottles taken out of it, 1, and if it's empty, it outputs nothing. And that is the changes as regards that. Don't see this being used a whole lot, to be honest, but it is there if somebody wants to use it for that. Maybe in maps you could do something with this, find the Eyes of Ender or something, so you do have that option as well. Moving on from that, let me just make sure I haven't missed anything. We've done all of this, done that, done this, spoke about the lava. So flint and steel now loses durability when lighting TNT. That was just a bug fix, but it was a notable one. So now we move on to the main sort of feature, I guess you could say, of this update, and that is horses. So I've kind of saved the best till last for you. The first thing that we're going to look at is the horse armor. So horse armor, it comes in 3 variants: iron, gold and diamond. They can only be found in the loot chests, so dungeons, mine shafts, now nether fortresses. They're fairly common, and also one thing to note with them is they do not take durability damage, so it kind of lasts forever. Once you have a diamond piece, unless your horse burns up in lava or something and you lose the items on it, you've kind of got one forever basically, so you only have to find one, and they're fairly common. So dungeons, mineshafts, fortresses, they also have infinite uses. So now we move on to the name tag item, and I'm just going to quickly say that there is a horse spawn egg item. Just spawns horses as you would with a normal spawn egg. So now we have the name tag item, and this was added at the request of the popular YouTuber Paul Swords Jr., who requested that he wanted a way to name animals in the game, such as passive mobs and stuff like that, their pets and stuff, by actually having a way in survival mode, because in creative you have the eggs, but in survival mode you don't have spawn eggs. So Dinnerbone happily accepted and gave him this name tag item. So to actually use the name tag, you find them in dungeon chests and stuff like that. You can't craft them in the game. You pop this into an anvil and you rename it. It costs 5 levels, so why don't we just call this cow Bessie. So there we go, we have Bessie, 5 levels, and then all you have to do is simply right click on the mob, and the mob has a name. So Bessie, you are now named. Yes, it's exciting, isn't it? Okay, so that's how that works. For certain mobs you may need to shift click. I think for horses you just need to right click. There's some slight variance in the way that you apply it. I don't think it actually works with villagers. This was the only thing that it didn't work with. Maybe that got fixed. Yeah, it doesn't work with villagers. So if you want to apply a name to villagers, then you need to apply it while they're still in the zombie villager state, and then after that you can apply it when you've got them trapped, along with kind of giving them the medicine and stuff, and then when they are transformed they will keep the name. So that's how you do that. So what else have we got to cover? I think we have the lead item. Have I got the lead item left here? I don't actually. I don't have that for some reason around. So, or is it over here? It might be. No, that's golden apples and stuff. So, yeah, there's a new lead item in the game. It's very simple to understand. So, here is a lead. Let me just get a chest set up here, and we'll just put it right here. You get 2 leads, and to craft it you need string and slime balls. So I'll show you how to craft this one. So here all you need, it's very, very simple, is you need 3 bits of string in the corner making an arrowhead, and then a bit of string at the bottom, and put a slime ball in the middle, and you get 2 leads. And the leads can be used by right clicking on an animal, well, a mob in general basically, and then you right click on a fence post and it ties them to the particular fence post, and you can break it by hitting the fence post. And you can also use this to drag mobs around. So if I hold on to this, you can kind of see I'm being pulled along. I'm pulling him along. So this is actually really useful for moving animals around. Instead of using the wheat, you can kind of just pull them around fairly easily, and then you can just kind of push them back into their pen and then tie them up and they won't wander off. Very, very cool stuff. It's a nice little addition, that. So yeah, that is the lead item in a nutshell. Not too much to talk about as regards that. So now we move on to the, I guess that you could say, the final part of 1.6. We still have a couple of things to cover yet. So we've covered that, so let's go and check that out. So we've done this. So now glistering melons and golden apples have had their crafting recipe changed. Glistering melons still do the same as what they did before, but now it requires 8 nuggets instead of 1. And I'll let you into a little secret. I thought this was the crafting recipe anyway until I had to look it up. So I'm not too upset about this. I thought it was this anyway. So really easy now to obtain golden nuggets with zombie pigman farms. So it's not such a problem. getting a hold of a lot of gold nuggets, plus you get 9 from each golden bar that you find. So really it's not too much of a problem. The golden apple has been changed. It now requires ingots instead of nuggets, obviously surrounded around by the apple, and what it does now is slightly different. You get the 1 minute 30 of absorption that I was talking about earlier. So if I take one of these guys, as you can see, I have regeneration 2 for 5 seconds, and then you have the absorption, which lasts for 2 minutes actually, apparently. I thought it was 1 minute 30, but it's 2 minutes, and you get those 2 extra hearts, which will reappear after 30 seconds if you happen to end up losing them in combat. So, to be honest, I don't mind what they did with the golden apple itself, because I don't use them much anyway. It's the kind of, because you have to convert zombie villagers, it's just gotten much more expensive now to convert zombie villagers. But there are setups now where we know how to breed them. So to make a village, you only need to really spend 2 of these things, and then you can just get them to breed using doors and stuff that we have set up now. So it's okay. I'm not too bothered about it really. Doesn't come in pretty common in survival. But that is the change as regards golden apples. If you wanted to know, actually one thing I did neglect to mention here is the enchanted golden apple. This guy, he is also changed. The notches apple, as they call it. If you take one of these guys, you now get the 2 minutes of absorption. You get 30 seconds, I believe, of regeneration 5. Resistance for 5 minutes and fire resistance for 5 minutes, as you used to before. So regeneration 5 will be enough to prevent any sort of attack without taking damage, apart from explosions. So you can't just go dive bombing into a pile of TNT and expect to live. But pretty cool change again. Don't use them all that often. So really handy there if you want to fight a boss with that. Really expanded upon it. So they're the 2 changes as regards that. Glistering melons are still used in the same way as they were before in brewing. Just pop them in the brewing stand. Villagers now have some new sounds. Let me just whack up the sound a bit here. And they also, let's get some emeralds out. They also have a trading sound. So if I... Did you hear that? Haha! You can do a trade with this guy. What would you going to offer me? 5 for that? No, that's a pretty bad deal. So they also have a death sound if you happen to kill them. Kind of a horrible sound, but there we are. That's what happens. So yeah, they've got pretty cool new sounds. I really like that. Kind of makes them more polished now. So with that done, spiders can now spawn with potion effects. Very rarely, I've never seen this happen in the game, but they can spawn with stuff like speed, fire resistance, and occasionally strength, stuff like that. Zombies will occasionally spawn additional zombies in the darkness when hurt, so if you attack them, they might have a chance to spawn another one, which is a problem I was experiencing in MrMFretwell Plays Minecraft in a couple of episodes' time that you will see. All mobs now spawn in groups again. When a mob is named Dinnerbone or Grum, they appear upside down. This also happens to players, so if you apply a name tag or go in the anvil with a spawn egg and name them Dinnerbone or Grum, then you will end up with an upside down mob. So finally we have the grand finale, and they are horses. So horses are the biggest addition to the game by a clear mile. There's a lot that you can do with them. I'm going to go over a few basic things about them, then we're going to try them out. So to tame horses, you need to ride them, and you'll get thrown off a few times until the hearts appear down here, the horse hearts. They can be bred using golden apples and golden carrots. They drop leather when killed. They can be their health can be restored using bread, sugar, hay bales, which is a use of them, wheat, apples, and golden carrots. Baby horses are grown in the same way as restoring health using these items, just right-clicking on them with those things. Riding a horse with a saddle grants full control over the horse's movement. This is just the same saddle you were using on pigs before 1.6. The colour, style, maximum health, jump height and speed vary between horses. There's a lot of different breeds and a lot of different styles out there to check out. So have a play around, see what you can see. You can hold left shift and right click to open up the horse's GUI where the saddle and armour can be applied. They rarely spawn in small groups, and we'll get to donkeys and mules in a bit. So this is a horse right here that I've got tamed. Does not have any armour, but does have a saddle. So if I shift right click, left shift right click, you can see I have the horse GUI, and you can see I could apply armour or a saddle. You can take it off if you want to the horse, and you can just right click normally to jump on him, and you can see I'm on the horse now. You can actually interact. This is with all entities now, not just horses, and I can kind of supposedly go outside, but doesn't seem I'm quite able to. Let's make a path for ourselves, and swords don't work in creative. So here we are, I'm free to go. This guy seems to be a fairly good horse. The hearts don't display because I'm in creative. They can get up things fairly easily. They can get up one block heights. As you can see here, I'm jumping over things with relative ease. You can hold down the spacebar to jump, and you can kind of build up a head of speed and then jump. And some people have mastered this. I'm not too good at it yet, where you can jump over ravines and stuff. As you can see in the F5 mode, I'm kind of flying around. There you are. You can see me jump. Very nice. Very, very cool change. I like this. It's well overdue. And obviously you can tie these up with the leads if you so desire. And I'm going to get off this guy now. You do that by left shift, remember, as you're dismounting. So there we are, that's the horse. You can apply armour, as I said, by grabbing yourself some armour out of a chest and then shift right clicking and putting it on here. Donkeys function much the same, but they have a unique feature where they can't have armour, but what they do have is a chest that you can put on their back so that you can store items. So as you can see here, I have donkeys act like horses, but can store 15 items in a chest on its saddle, and mules are obtained by breeding a horse with a donkey. They act the same as horses. I've not noticed any different in terms of that. So if I shift right click, as you can see, this donkey has a saddle on him and some room. If I can take the saddle off or put it back on again. You actually apply a physical chest. You have to get a chest and right click. It doesn't look as if you get your chest back. I'm not sure if you do, if you kill it. But why would you want to kill it? You know what I mean? I don't see though why you'd want your chest back. It's not a huge change. You can put your stuff in here and you can travel around on the donkey. To be honest, I still think the ender chest kind of supersedes that, because it's a lot easier to use an ender chest. But at the same time, it is a lot easier on resources, not needing the obsidian and the eyes of ender. So I guess this is useful before you get access to ender chests, and it's still a pretty neat change. If you wanted to go a short distance, I would go with the donkey. If you wanted to go a long distance, I would recommend using the ender chest and probably taking a horse with you. And obviously we've got the new mule, which is basically the same. This guy hasn't got a chest on him. So in all honesty, that is 1.6. Quite a lot of internal changes. I don't know how long exactly I've been recording, but that is 1.6 in a nutshell. There will be all the relevant links in the description, plus you'll see a screenshot of the launcher as well. I will be doing tutorials on the majority of this stuff. Horses, the clay, the golden apple changes, the carpets, and all this stuff I will be talking about in tutorials, so stay tuned for my tutorial series if you want to know more in-depth stuff about this. As I say, there will be links to Seth Bling's video in the description if you want to know more about the attribute system. And I think that's it. I think the attribute system and the play sound command are all in the same video, so you have that to look at right there. It's a little short video which I found very useful. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I hope that you enjoy Minecraft Update 1.6. Very, very soon there's going to be a 1.6.2, which is going to fix just a bunch of bugs. But there is one notable bug fix that I know that a lot of people are going to be happy for. And the mobs getting suffocated in the walls and stuff. And also mobs wandering out of fences and stuff without without actually having an open gate or anything. They just kind of teleport out. That has been fixed. Jeb announced that he fixed it earlier today, which I cannot wait for. That means I don't have to fool around with that animal farm I've got on MrMFretwell Plays Minecraft with the water, and it makes the sound engine lag out, so I won't have to do that anymore because they've got to fix that bug. So I'm really happy about that. So I'll do a video on 1.6.2 when it comes out in probably maybe a week or so's time. But for now, let's just enjoy 1.6 and all of its features. And fairly soon, we will be starting on the snapshots for 1.7. That looks to be some sort of biome update, apparently, is what Jeb has indicated at DreamHack. But I'll talk more about 1.7 in an actual 1.7 snapshot, because nothing's confirmed yet. So let's enjoy 1.6, everyone. I hope that you've enjoyed this video, and I hope that you enjoy the features. I hope that I have given you a good overview to the features in this update, and I hope that now you have the basis to go on and play around yourself with them. Either in survival or creative, and I hope that you enjoy it. So until next time, guys, see you later and have a good day.